What if you could steal your competitors' best YouTube ideas without guessing, scrolling, or wasting hours on research? I built an automation that scrapes top performing videos from your niche, analyzes them with AI, and then creates brand new video ideas customized to your channel. In this video, I'll walk you through how I use make.com, Apify, ChatGPT, and Airtable to reverse engineer what's already working and then turn it into high performing content ideas that you can publish this week. Let's dive in. So recently I've been using AI and automations to stalk some of my competitors on YouTube and figure out which of the content in my niche has been performing well. First, I use this automation here in make.com to scrape the YouTube profiles of some creators in my niche, and then I can organize that content by number of views and things like that. And then what I'm doing is I'm throwing that into ChatGPT to identify like key themes and ideas that are in concepts that are also performing really well and come up with some new ideas for me so that I can start creating new content based off of the things that are already performing well. So first I'm going to walk you through this automation here, which uses make.com and Apify to kind of scrape the profiles of these users. We're using Airtable to record a record just so we can have a nice like clean list of everything. And then we're throwing that all into ChatGPT again to create some new ideas based off of the topics that are already performing well. So I'm going to walk you through this all step by step. First, we're going to go through the automation here in make.com and how to scrape profiles using Apify. Then I'm going to show you how to create a record of everything in Airtable. And last, we're going to show you how to throw that into ChatGPT to kind of generate these ideas using a ChatGPT assistant. And in the end, you should have something that looks kind of like this with all the creator names, the titles of the videos, a link to where that video lives, the duration, the total number of views. And then here we have all the ideas that come out of ChatGPT about the idea and like a really thorough description of exactly how we could execute on that idea in a little bit more detail. So let's hop into make.com. And first I'm going to walk you through this automation and what every one of these modules does. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to build it from scratch. So the first thing we have going here to start the automation is this set multiple channels module. What's really great about this is this allows us to swap out the URLs from any of our creators over time, or if we want, we can go down the list and we can add more creators and more profiles to this. And so we don't have to keep messing around with the actor from Apify over and over and over again. Basically, Apify.com, if you don't know, is a really great site that has like tons of scrapers for everything on the web. It has Instagram, it has Facebook, it has TikTok, it even has Amazon if you want to search for any products. And of course it has YouTube, which is what we're going to be using today. People have built all these kind of API protocols here through Apify that you can use to really scrape anything on the web. It's really easy to set up. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, but this is like a really great place to come to use APIs, and it's pretty cheap. I think the YouTube actor is like $1 for every 1,000 scrapes or something like that. So pretty cost effective, I'd say. So here, after we set all the channels, we're running it through that scraper and it's going to scrape all the profiles to get the videos and the total number of views. We're aggregating everything that comes out of that data, and we're putting that into the record in Airtable, which I just showed you. And then we're taking all of that and we're aggregating it all together. That way we have it in a nice clean place to feed into ChatGPT. So that way we can just get everything and it can analyze the title and the number of views and figure out, okay, based on the total number of views, people like this content the best. And so we're going to generate more ideas based off of similar themes. And then at the end, I'm going to show you how to split that out into a format that Airtable really nicely recognizes and can create new rows in Airtable until we get that nice, really clean result. So let's just go ahead and build this from scratch. I'm going to show you how to do everything. The end result is really cool, and it's a great way to come up with new ideas for content and also, again, see what's performing really well. And so before we get started here on make.com, I just want to really quickly run you through the actor in Apify so you kind of understand how it works, because that's really the basis of this entire thing. I'm just going to show you how to set it up. Again, it's really simple. I'm just going to kind of tell you a little bit about the structure. The actor that we've been using is this fast YouTube channel scraper by Streamers. And if you come over to the store here, you can just go ahead and type in YouTube, click search, and this has a fast YouTube channel scraper here by Streamers at 2.1 thousand likes. Again, really cheap, really accessible. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that. And basically, there's only a couple of parameters you can change, right? So here you can put in the YouTube channel of everyone that you like, the maximum number of videos to scrape from that channel. And here you have shorts and live streams. If you want to scrape shorts and live streams, that's really your call. The most important part of this thing actually is the JSON. And now this might look a little bit complicated, but if you read it, it's actually really clear what's going on here. This is a really simple JSON setup. You can see the number of streams has 0. The maximum results, which is the maximum number of full screen, full length YouTube videos, is 10. Shorts, 0. And then this has the URL for the profiles. And so again, you can see that kind of these fields here match up with, this code in the JSON. And it's really okay if you don't know how to code, because we're just going to end up copying and pasting this anyway, which is a really simple way to get results. And so I just want you to kind of understand how this works before we hop into Make and actually start building, because it's really important, because we're not just going to want to scrape one URL. If you want, you can add more URLs here just by clicking the add button and adding more in. And you can see that we kind of changed the JSON here. And so if you want to set this up yourself ahead of time, say you have 5 profiles you want to scrape, you can just come into the JSON. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we kind of have these 4 blank spaces here at the end for us to insert more URLs. And so maybe we'll just go ahead and copy and paste this for now. I actually don't think we're going to need to do that yet, because there's a few things we want to set up first. So let's hop back over to Make. Let's start building this thing from scratch. First thing we want to do, we have this brand new scenario. We're just going to want to click plus, and this is in the tools. And we want to set multiple variables. If you don't see it, you can just type set multiple variables. And first, we're going to need an item. You can name these whatever you want. The name is really totally up to you. It's just a way for Make to recognize it. So we can call this channel 1. And we can just create 2 more. Let's just do 3 channels. Let's just do 3 channels for today, because that'll be easy. So now the variable name. And so what we're going to want to put into this variable name is actually the full URL of the person whose channel we want to scrape. So I'm just in YouTube here, and we have 3 creators, Alex Hormozi, Gary Vee, and The Future, who has really great advice for kind of designers and entrepreneurs. And so we're just going to go ahead and copy the links from their channels. And we're just going to go ahead into make.com, and we're just going to paste these in. So this is at Alex Hormozi. We can actually paste this in here, because we'll just swap out the at the end, and we'll do at Gary Vee, and we'll do at The Future. So we're just going to go ahead and swap these out. We're going to say at Gary Vee and at The Future. So what's really great about this is this sets it up in a way so that instead of having to mess with the JSON all the time that I showed you before from Apify, we can just go ahead and change the profiles here in the set multiple variable setting, and it'll just kind of ripple through the rest of the flow. It's just kind of like a nicer, cleaner way to do it. And so the next thing we need to do is we need to connect to Apify. And so we can just go ahead and search Apify, go ahead and click this. And what we want to do is we want to run an actor. And so basically you need to set up your own connection to Apify. And so once you're in this fast YouTube channel scraper, what you want to do just to kind of set this up and make sure it's added to your account is you can click save and start if you want to run it once. But if you scroll down to the bottom, you can just click save, and that's actually going to save this Apify actor to your actor section over here, which just means it's kind of like saved to your profile. And so the module in make.com can recognize it. So make sure you just click save here before we start running this. And so in order to connect Apify to make.com, the first thing you're going to want to do is set up your API. So if you just come into settings, API and integration, and click add a token, you can go ahead and create your own API here and then link that into make.com. When you go to make a connection up here, you just click add, you'll type in your API, you can name this new connection whatever you want, and this should connect it up really seamlessly for you. What's cool about Apify is they give you 5 free dollars worth of credits every month. And so you actually don't need to pay anything up front to run this. Again, I said this is really cheap, $1 for every 1,000 videos you scrape. So, just to get started with this is really, really easy. And so what I did here is actually, I'm just going to go back to manual to make this really easy. And I'm just going to delete 2 of those columns since we only actually want to use 3 here. And if we come into the JSON, this is perfect because we have kind of 3 places to put those URLs. And so I'm just going to copy this. And if we come back in over to Apify here, what we need to do is we need to connect the actor that we have, and you can see we have the streamer's YouTube channel scraper here, and we can just go ahead and we can paste that JSON. And I just clicked Command V to paste that in. But if you want to paste it in like really nicely, if you hold Shift Command V, it's actually going to like paste with the correct formatting. It just looks nicer. I like this better. That's just me, personal preference. And we can go ahead and we can change these settings. And so if we come in here and we just delete this from Apify, we can go ahead and click channel 1. If we go in between these quotes, we can click channel 2. And if we come in here, we can click channel 3. And that's really great. So anytime, again, we come in, we want to change these channels that we're scraping, we can just go ahead and set more variables. Or if we want to add more profiles that we're scraping, we just would want to copy this section. Make sure you're copying between the brackets. And actually, you're going to want to copy this comma too. That's actually important for the formatting. But if you just copy and paste multiple rows of this, you can add more channels to this Apify builder if you want. And so there's only one more thing that we need to do to get this set and running. We want to make sure we just say run synchronously and click yes. And so the Apify actors, because they're scraping profiles for a certain number of videos, like they take a little bit of time to run. And so if you click synchronously here and you click yes, before we do the next thing to get the data, it's actually going to wait for the actor to finish scraping the profiles before it grabs the data. If you have no checked here, what's going to happen is that the module that's trying to get the data isn't going to wait for it to finish, and it's going to try to grab data, but there's not going to be anything there, and it's just going to fail. And so you want to make sure you click yes to wait for the actor to finish running before you grab the data with the next module. So make sure you select yes here. And then again, if you want less than 10 results, you can change this. Let's just go with 3 for now, since this is just a little video. If we want to grab shorts, we can grab shorts too. If not, again, this is all totally up to you of what you want to scrape. And so we'll just go ahead and we'll click OK. And this is really great. And so what I want to do just to show you guys is I'm just going to go ahead and click run once just so you can kind of see the output here. So let's run this once. Again, this kind of spit out these 3 profiles here, Alex Hormozi, Gary V, and the future, and the Apify actor is running. This will take a little bit of time. So within like 10 seconds, you can see that this already finished, and we have the status succeeded with 6 total requests. This is all really great, and we can't see any data yet because we actually have to grab the data with one more Apify module. So let's just set that up. We'll click Apify again, and we're just going to want to say get dataset items, which is really great and easy to set. And this is just going to want to put in the dataset ID here. And if you just type in dataset, not there. You want to type dataset into the search. The one that you're going to want is this default dataset up here, and you just click on this and click OK, and that's going to import that right there. You can say the limit number of items to return 100. That's fine. The format is JSON. Great, easy, no problem here. And so I'm just going to run this one more time and let this cook again, and we can see the data set that it's grabbing. This should have more of the final info that we actually want from this. So we're just going to give that one more second. This is a really handy tool, really easy to scrape so many profiles. It shouldn't take long at all. And again, you can see in just a couple seconds, this grabbed the data set, and now we can see the title of these videos, Why New Opportunities Keep You Poor by Alex Hormozi. You can see the duration, we can see the URL for the channel, the URL for the specific video. It even gives you a thumbnail URL if you want to grab the thumbnail for it, a description of the channel, and so much more great information. Really importantly, the total views for this video, which is super, super helpful for us if we want to figure out what's performing well. Again, views is a great way to do that, so then we can organize by views later on. So we have 3 Alex Hormozi videos here. And then next we have some Gary V videos. And if you scroll on down, we have some videos by the future too. So we have everything we need to go. We're well on our way. This is super easy. So the next thing we need to do is we need to get all this information into Airtable. And so there's a couple things we want to do first. And so 2 things we want to do in order to create our rows really nicely in Airtable is we need to aggregate all this data that's coming from this dataset module into one kind of easy to read place. And then we're going to iterate through each single line of that array so that each single line becomes a line in Airtable for us to use. It's just like a way of cleaning up the data and making it in a really nice digestible format. And so we can come in and we can go to flow control, or you can type in aggregate and we can put the array aggregator in. And we're just going to want to select this get dataset module up here. And you can select any of the fields that you want for this. For us, we can, you can just click select all, and that's really easy. You can decide what's really important to you, which is really great. And so the things that I'm really interested in are the title, duration, the channel name, the date it was published, the URL for the video, and of course the view count. And I think that's pretty much all we need here. I'm just going to go ahead and click OK and set that good. And then in order to do this, next we need to go ahead and go through the iterator, connect that up, and for the array, we're just going to go ahead and click the array from the last module, and you can see that it's kind of like blinking here on the screen to show that this is what it's connecting to, and we're just going to go ahead and select OK on that. And so what this is going to do is going to grab all that data, and again, it's going to go through line by line, package that all up nicely, and create a line in Airtable for each one of the dataset items that we pulled from the YouTube scraper. And so next we can just set up our Airtable database. Again, you only need a few columns for this. It's really simple to set up. And so here in our Airtable workspace, this is free, to get started with, and you can definitely at least do this much with it for free. So it's really great. And so I'm just going to go ahead and click create and start from scratch. We can just title this YouTube scraper, and we'll make it red because YouTube's always red. So if we go back into the one I've already created, you see the fields that we need are the creator name, the video URL, the source. Here's the URL for the video. This is a link. This is just a button, so you can click to it. I'll show you how to set this up if you want. You don't necessarily need to. This is just kind of nice. So it's one click and opens up the page for you, the duration and the total number of views. So let's go ahead and just kind of copy this flow into the other Airtable over here. So first we have creator name, and I'm just going to go ahead and rename this long text field to video description. If you want, I can add one more to the right here, and we can call this source. And I like to use a single select here, which is like a nice little drop down menu, and we can say YouTube. And I also have a scraper that will scrape TikTok profiles. And so if you want to know how to scrape TikTok profiles and go through the same setup, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video on that next. So we can just go ahead and create that field. Let's come over here and see that we have URL, video length, duration, and views. So let's create one to the right again. We'll type in URL. And if we scroll down here, you can see the URL, which you need in order to get the button to work. You need to have the separate field, which we can go ahead and hide later. And so I'll just set that up really quick. We can insert this to the right. We can say video link. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom here, we have a button. And this just wants the URL formula. And if you go ahead and just type in a bracket, it'll show you all these other fields. And basically, we just want to click the URL field down here and click create field. And you can edit the style of this text. I actually kind of like these with the solid blue buttons and the white text. And you can label this video if you want, change this to whatever you want, and click create field. And so now what's great is if you just come into the URL here and you type in https://www.youtube.com, you can go ahead and click OK. And you can see this video just turned dark blue. It's not grayed out anymore. And instead of having to double click on this URL, you can just click this button. It's going to open up the new tab with your YouTube channel and you're good to go. And so if you want now, what you can do is you can go ahead and you can just hide this URL field because we don't actually need to see it, but just know that it's there and you need that data, you need the URL in actually to connect to the video here. And so our last two fields that we're going to need is we need duration and we need views. And then we're good to go. We can start setting this up and kind of running through it in full. So we need duration. And we can set this to single line text. And if I just click here and go to duplicate, I can click views. Click save, and we can delete these last two columns because we don't need them. Great, so we're all good to go here. We now just need to connect our make.com scenario up to our Airtable database. And so in order to do that, you are gonna need to come up to your little profile here and over to the Builder Hub. And you're going to need to either create a new token to connect Airtable via API to make.com, or you can go ahead and if you have one, you can edit it to work with that base. But I have these personal access tokens here. This one I just called working Airtable token. Is connected to some of my other bases. I'm just going to go ahead and add a new base to this. If I scroll down to the bottom, I just want to make sure our API can read the base that we just created. So I click save, changes are saved. I don't need this anymore. We can pop back into make.com and I can just click the plus here and I have Airtable here. If you don't see it, just type in air. And what we want to do is show more, and we want to create a record. So if I switch over to the working Airtable connection, I can select the base that we want to use, which is going to be the YouTube scraper that we just created. And then it's going to ask me for the table, which we just have table 1. And now you can see here we have all the fields that we just created: creator name, video description, source, duration, views, and the URL for the video. So that's really great. And what are we going to populate this with? Well, we actually don't have anything yet because we need to run this once to get everything to come through this iterator. So let's just run this once. I'm going to go ahead and unlink this for now. And I'm just going to run this one more time so that we have some data to pull into our Airtable. So let's go ahead and let's click run. We're going to give this a couple seconds. And then once we're done with setting this all up and getting this into Airtable, I'm going to show you how to send this information into ChatGPT so then you can come up with some new ideas. We're going to be doing that using a ChatGPT assistant, which I love because this allows you to use that same assistant over and over again in different scenarios like this. And anytime you want to make a change, you just have to make a change in one place to that actual assistant in ChatGPT instead of having to come into every scenario and update it wherever you find it. And maybe you'll miss something. So here we go. We already ran through, we grabbed everything. We ran this through the array aggregator. This is great. And now we have the iterator here, and you can see we have all these different bundles. Bundle 1 basically put the URL, the date, the title, the duration, the view count, everything we wanted in kind of like one nice little organized collection for us. And so now if we link this back up, we can just go ahead and actually sometimes these are kind of weird if you add them after. So if we just go ahead and kind of create a new one here and we want to create a record, we're just going to go back through this one more time to the working Airtable connection, and we should have the YouTube scraper and table 1. And now if we go through this, you can see we have the flow control here with the creator name, which will be the channel name. The video description will basically be the title of the video. The source, if we want, we know this is coming from YouTube, so we can just turn off map here and we can go to YouTube. The duration, we'll grab the duration. The views, we will grab the view count, and the URL, we will go ahead and we'll grab the URL here and we will click OK and just make sure we want to name this YouTube scraper. And we can just go ahead and click save, make sure you're saving your work. And now if we run this one more time, we'll let this do its thing. Now we should get everything coming through to the Airtable that we just created all really nice and organized. And then we can go ahead and kind of sort everything by view if we want. And if you're, scraping 100 videos per channel or whatever, you can see how this could be really helpful to see which content is performing the best from all your favorite creators. And you can figure out what they're doing, and you can start doing some of that yourself or find similar topics. And so we ran through this once, and you can see now this has this little 9 here, which means it went through 9 different operations. And if we come back into our Airtable here, you can see we have 3 videos from Alex Hormozy, 3 from the future, 3 from Gary Vee, with the links to all the videos, the duration, and the total number of views. We can actually just go ahead and delete these three rows up top. We don't need them. And if you want, you can just come in here and say sort, and we want to sort this by views, and we want to sort this Z to A, most views at the top, of course. And so 3 hours of money-making advice you needed to know yesterday from Alex Hormozy. People love videos on how to make money, so of course this performed the best. This is a 3.5-hour video, which is crazy. And so it's also good to see if there's a certain duration that performs better than others. Are longer videos performing better right now, or do people like shorter videos? It's really hard to say. Obviously, 9 videos is pretty limited data here. But if you have a bunch of these, you can start making some conclusions from the data. And so that's really the first part of this. And the next part is we just wanted to sync this up to ChatGPT to come up with some new ideas for us, so we're not always ripping off other creators. We're actually coming up with some things new. And instead of doing it all ourselves, we just got ChatGPT to do it. So pretty cool. We can go ahead and set up the other table in here so that we have a place to dump the records when it's done. So why don't we set that up first, and then I'll show you how to set up ChatGPT. And so if we just pop on over to the ideas tab here, it's really just 3 things. It's the idea, a description of the idea, and the source type. So that's it, really simple. So if we just come in here and we just click the plus, and we can say start from scratch, and we can just call this ideas. We have the idea, a description of the idea, and we can delete this, and we can just say source here. We can delete one of these. We'll just say YouTube, since these are coming from YouTube. And I had TikTok. Again, I have the TikTok scraper. If you want to know about it, let me know. We'll just click save. There we go. We're all set up to get some new ideas going. Really cool. So now that we're over here in our make.com scenario, basically what we need to do is we just need to grab the title of the video and the total number of views. And so we're just going to grab this, and we're just going to type in text aggregator. This is a built-in tool. What this is going to do is it's just going to kind of put together multiple sources of text into one thing. And so we just want to grab everything here from the array aggregator, and I'm just going to click OK. And for the text, really all I want is the title. I'm just going to hit enter, and I'm going to type views, and I'm going to grab the view count. And so this will give ChatGPT enough information to know that here are the titles of the video and here are the number of views. And so based off of which videos have the number of views, generate some new ideas for me. That's the idea here. So the next thing we need to do is we just need to set this up and connect it to ChatGPT. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for ChatGPT, and then I just want to message an assistant. Okay, it took a second to connect. And if we just go in here into the assistant, you can see I have all these assistants. I love using assistants again because I just have to update them once, and it has a ripple effect and ripples through all the scenarios that I have going. I've been starting a school community on school.com where I'm going to leave all the prompts that I use for all these assistants for you. So if you want to join the school community, let me know so you can have access to these prompts so you don't have to create them all yourself. But so we just want to connect to the YouTube idea generator here, and I'm going to show you what this prompt is and how this works in just a second. And we actually, the only message that we need to give it really is the text coming out of the text aggregator. So I'm just going to go ahead and click OK here. And let's pop over to OpenAI. I'm just going to show you how this works. Here we are inside of OpenAI where I have all my assistants, and this is the prompt that I've been using for the YouTube idea generator. It says, you are an expert in social media and content creation with a focus on AI and automations. Analyze the provided data, which consists of YouTube titles and view counts, and your task is to create new videos based on the best performing content as quantified by view count. Rank your video suggestions from most to least relevant, considering the following factors. We want to identify common themes or topics across high-performing titles, suggest related content that aligns with the viewer's preferences, consider creators' niche, expertise, and style, prioritize suggestions that address the viewer's needs, and evaluate the potential engagement and popularity of each suggestion based on enthusiasm and frequency of related comments. This last one actually isn't so relevant for us right now because we're not actually scraping the comments for the videos, but we have this in here just in case. And this has an example format and some other examples of effective titles and things like that. And so this is really great to run this through. And again, remember, we're just basically taking all of the titles and the view counts from the videos that we scraped, and we're feeding it into this assistant. And then we're just going to take all the new ideas that ChatGPT creates for us, and we're going to just throw it back into Airtable so we have a nice place to look at everything. So all we need here is just one more module. We need the Airtable module again. We want to create a new record, and we're going to be using my working Airtable connection and the base. which is going to be the YouTube scraper. And the table this time is not table 1. This is going to be the ideas table that we just created. And here we have the idea and the description. There is one more important thing I forgot to mention. So basically I had to give this a little bit more instruction because I wanted to output the information, the result that ChatGPT gives us, into a specific format, which is that JSON format we actually looked at earlier when looking at the Apify actor. This is really nice because it just splits up the information into what are called key value pairs. In this case, the key being idea and the value being whatever the idea is that ChatGPT creates. And so we named it idea, and then this is the actual result here. And so we just want to tell it to output in that format because then we can grab the title or we can grab the idea and the description separately and put them into different places inside of Airtable. The other thing we asked it to do is to create a brief summary describing what the video is and the steps necessary to achieve it. Because what I found was happening is that it was giving us a title and a description of the video, but like I wasn't entirely clear like what's the best path for me to execute. And so I just wanted to tell me like when I give you this title or an idea for a video, like this is exactly what I mean. So I know how to plan and execute against that idea. So I'm just actually going to go ahead and copy this. And I'm going to paste this into our integration over here. So if we come back in, let this load for a second, and we have a message here, which is just the text, I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in here, and we can actually just delete this one because this is unnecessary. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now in between Airtable and ChatGPT, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. I know we'll need to set it up again. We need what's called parse JSON module. And so what that means is because remember the JSON is going to give us the key value pair, we need to just be able to recognize that format. So you can see here how we have this set up. It's just grabbing the result from ChatGPT and just creating kind of the right structure for us. So if we come in here and we just type in parse JSON, go ahead and add this, and the string is just going to be the result coming from ChatGPT. And so I can just go ahead and click OK. So I'm just going to run this one more time to make sure that we have all the data that we need, just so the parse JSON module works. So I'm going to go ahead and let this Apify actor run. Remember, it's scraping all the profiles for us. It's going to get the data set. It's going to aggregate it together in one, and then it's going to iterate through each one of those scrapes line by line, put that into Airtable, and now we can see the action of ChatGPT in work. This will take a couple seconds, obviously, for it to connect to ChatGPT. Really didn't take very long. If we click here, you can come into the result, and you can see here how we have this JSON structure. And it says idea, 13 hours of money making advice, description, and the description. You can see we have the key and the value. So again, these are those key value pairs, which are really important for if we want to come over here, connect to Airtable, and create a new record. Come over to our working Airtable connection. Again, our base is the YouTube scraper, and the table is ideas. And now you can see we just go in here and we can grab the idea, which we labeled idea, from the parse JSON module and the description because it gave it to us in the correct format for us. And the source, we can just unclick map and go ahead and click YouTube and click OK. So I'm just going to run this one more time to go through the whole flow and get everything updated in our Airtable records. You can see here that what it did before is, again, it gave us just a list of the same videos because, you know, just duplicated the same ones because we didn't change the profiles or add any number to it. So if we just go ahead and select all and click delete, I'll just delete these all so we, you know, kind of go from scratch here. And we can just actually remove all these rows and come back into make.com. And let's just run this one more time. So this is a really useful tool. Again, if you want to spy on your competitors, if you want to figure out what content is performing well, that way you're not guessing, right? Like it's always recommended when you're creating new content, not to just think of things that you personally might find interesting, but to really do your research and find out what people are responding to in your niche. Because if you're creating content that you like, but nobody else likes it, well, then nobody's going to watch it. So it's really nice to kind of see what other people are doing, what's been effective for them to kind of know how you should structure and format your own content. So again, here we go. It ran through all of this. If we come into our scraper, we have all those 3 videos with the video description. These are the scraped fields organized by view. And now if we come over to the ideas tab, you can see we have all these ideas and descriptions of how to execute on them, stop missing business opportunities, discuss how to identify and seize new business opportunities effective, 5 urgent money tips for 2023, 500 plus employees. Here's my secret, sharing your system for managing over 500 employees. And so maybe these don't apply to you, maybe they do. But again, if you're scraping profiles in your niche, maybe some of these ideas will be really helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more great videos on YouTube, AI, and automation.